Hey everyone, it's Fitz with the Power Talk. Hope you're doing well. Well, spring football is officially over for Kansas State. We just held the press conference with Chris Klieman, and I'm going to be honest, there's not a lot of news out of it. Now, some things are reinforced that we've told you about on previous videos, but Kellis Robinette asked the best question in the press conference. Now, let's back up and explain what I'm talking about. You get 15 practices for spring football. It's an NCAA mandated limit. And there's certain things you can and can't do in those days. So certain days have to be padded, unpadded, all that stuff. K-State used a total of 10 of those practices, 2 of them unpadded. They were walkthroughs, so really 8 practices, full practices. So Kellis asked him, any regrets with that? Any fear that this might backfire? Why did K-State do that? K-State did that to extend the strength and conditioning window in the offseason from 6 weeks to 9. 50% more. We've been saying adding 3 weeks to the conditioning program and the strength program, but we never knew the original length. It went from 6 weeks to 9 weeks. They got 50% more strength and conditioning in this off season. And just to this observer, the players we've seen, now it paid off. So the only way to do that, as Chris Klieman explained, was to get rid of practices, something most coaches would absolutely push back on. But here's his point. Spring football isn't what it used to be. Now with the portal and being more informed about injuries, there's fewer and fewer guys able to go through spring practices. He said if they wanted to do a spring practice game right now, they couldn't have done it. They were down to 2 running backs. They were limited on the offensive line. They had a whole bunch of issues going on. They were best off not having practice and letting everyone else get in the weight room and do their thing. I thought that was really interesting. Now, some of the things he did say was what we've known. The wide receivers are much better. But as Chris Klieman also points out correctly, let's see what they do in the fall in games. But everyone's raving about this trio as a group that they brought in through the transfer portal at receiver. He also mentioned something that I don't think has been mentioned publicly, and I've hinted at. John Pastore, who was expected maybe to start at that right tackle spot, well, he's got an issue. He's got an injury that he has tried to work through. I'll just say this. A similar injury from what I'm thinking this is led to the retirement of another player on this roster not too long ago. I don't think that is anywhere near where we're at with John Pastore, but we'll find out. But there is doubt in the air, and that's exactly why they had to go to the portal to get a couple guys. In fact, if Pastore was healthy, they probably would have just gotten one. We'll find out how all these guys fit into this picture at a later date. But as I mentioned recently, those guys look legit. Those offensive linemen seem like they're going to step right in, and they might have needed one starter, but they might have found 2, and someone's going to be out. That'll be very interesting to watch. But speaking of the offensive line, Chris Klieman used Taylor Poitier, who's back for his bonus season after the injuries and all that stuff, is one of the guys that clearly benefited from that additional 3 weeks of training. He feels like he's in the best shape of his life. And that is a very good sign because Taylor was a really good offensive lineman. 2 knee injuries later, 2 surgeries later, not as good. But if he's ready to go, it's going to be a good sign for Kansas State football. A lot of other small topics I'll pick up as we go along the way this week, but another one that he mentioned that they have to sort out in fall camp is the quarterbacks. And they don't know who their backup quarterback is. We've discussed this too. Is it Jacob Knuth? Is it one of the young guys? I mean, they've got some talent there, but who is actually the guy that they want to put in second in case Avery gets hurt or needs to come out of the game? This is an important question and one they couldn't really address in the spring because those double reps they love to run, which means you've got 2 sets of offense going, and outside you got defensive things going. And so you're doubling the number of players that are getting reps. And down at the other end, they might be deciding who is that backup quarterback, who's doing things right, and you're not getting that head-to-head examination quite as easily. But also, coaches love to have a little competition heading into the summer. I'm going to say that the double rep story he told was a fib. I didn't say lie, Coach. I didn't say lie. You would never lie. It's a fib. he may not know who it is, but I think he also knows I'm not going to name him right now because someone else might decide to leave, even though the portal's closed right now. Who knows when it's open again? Let's let him work all summer and compete. And that's very Snyder-esque, and I appreciated it. We'll see. I've got a great DD topic for tomorrow out of this press conference. And like I said just a second ago, we'll have other topics that we'll pick up as we go. But that is the overview from the spring football wrap-up media event on Friday afternoon or Friday morning. Hope you enjoyed spring football. If you feel like it went quick, it's because it went quick because it was shorter than usual.